there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money or both, sometimes watching a particular movie, or in this case, watching a particular series. This is a limited series. Today, the movie limited series that I'm reviewing is called We Were the Lucky Ones. This is a very sobering and powerful limited series about the Holocaust and World War II. It's now playing exclusively on Hulu, also available on Disney Plus. Sometimes when you have a particular platform, it plays both of them. Anyway, just pointing that out. So the rating is TV-MA for mature audiences. I'll give you some tips for parents here in just a minute. The length is 8 episodes of an hour long for each one of them. So 8 hours to watch this series. My overall movie review mom grade is an A. I really enjoyed this, although enjoy may be not the correct word because this is a really hard series to watch. I'll get into the content here in just a minute. But first, the sponsoring product for today is actually a Passover Seder plate and Kiddush cup along with a Haggadah. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Haggadah. Anyway, the booklet that explains how to do the whole Passover. It's a beautiful piece or collection, really. Click on the link below. And I have participated in several Passover Seder dinners, or Seders, I guess you call it, over the years. And I just am so fascinated and so touched by the traditions and the symbolism embedded in these. And I don't own this exact plating set, but I own some other pieces that I've bought over the years that I really love. And I've used them as I've taught lessons about Judaism. Even though I'm a Christian, I just am so fascinated with it and wanted to share that with you. So click on that link below if you're interested or want to know more. Now, I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and things I didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and we'll finish up with recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also enjoy watching. But again, enjoy might not be the best word because we're talking about the Holocaust here. Anyway, in a nutshell, this limited series is based on the 2017 novel of the same name by Georgia Hunter, who is the great-great-grandmother of Neshuma and Soul, two of the characters in the series. Now, I say characters because they were real people, obviously. It's based on the true story about the Kirk family, who were Jewish and Polish, as they endured the horrors of World War II and the Holocaust, struggling desperately to survive and to be reunited if possible. Now, I have not read the novel, but I love World War II movies. And that might sound odd, but I think it's probably because there were clear villains and innocents, a clear instance of good versus evil, right? The stories of heroism and sacrifice are just endless during that time period. My husband actually has some Polish ancestors, so I was especially intrigued to see how this series would unfold, especially because it's based on a true story. So let me give you some tips for parents. It is rated R for some very harsh content. I think for a lot of it, kids will be bored, young kids, but teenagers should definitely watch this so that they're aware of history so that we don't repeat history. There is some profanity, including F-bombs. There is extreme violence. We see the naked backside of men and women. We see a topless woman posing for a photo, kind of like in the style of Titanic, you know what I mean? We see people get shot, killed, and tortured, and we see piles of dead bodies. Some of the themes that are illustrated very well are freedom, choices, family, Judaism, connection, hatred, hope, religious persecution, and the human spirit. So there were a lot of things I really liked about this portrayal. First of all, the title is intriguing and haunting at the same time. Some would argue that the Jews who were killed early on in the war were the lucky ones so that they wouldn't have had to endure such barbaric treatment. While this series is captivating and historically accurate, it is brutal to watch. It is simply incomprehensible and unfathomable to me that humans treated each other like this. Now, sadly, this series is timely as ugly anti Semitism has started to rage around the globe again. Like, did we not learn our lessons? Unbelievable to me. This story needs to be told, and the timing is perfect. Now, because this nuclear family is fairly large, it gave lots of opportunities in the film to show how they were divided and how they experienced different aspects of the war in Poland, Russia, France, Italy, Palestine slash Israel, because that line changed during the process of World War II, Brazil, and Africa. I mean, they trot around the globe for this. I didn't recognize many of the actors. However, Joey King did a really great job, and I was happy to see her get such a meaty role. I adored Marin Hinkle in the award-winning The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you ever seen that? Loved, loved, loved it. So I was thrilled to see her in this, although she has a small role, and we don't really see her until several episodes in. Everyone in the cast did a fantastic job. So I was thrilled to see her in this. And the leading actors I learned playing the Jews were played by Jewish actors. I loved that. You'll be happy and amazed to know that the little girl, Felicia, in the story is still alive. She lives in Paris with her husband, Louis, which is amazing. And by the way, we are coming fast approaching the 80th anniversary of Normandy. You know how all of the Allied troops landed on Omaha Beach and Utah Beach in France, which really moved that line during World War II and really helped propel us to win the war. But anyway, I was there last summer for the very first time in Normandy, and it was amazing. And of course, I bawled and bawled like crazy. The tour guide's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "It's just really powerful here," which it is. Well, anyway, the reason I bring that up is my twin sister is a nurse practitioner, and she has been selected to be one of the nurses to personally escort some of the veterans from World War II who fought in Normandy to go there and be a part of the 80th anniversary. Isn't that amazing? I mean, they're all in their late 90s, and we are so fortunate to have any of them around to share their experiences. And we need to hear more about their experiences, because what blows my mind is there are people who are Holocaust deniers who say it never happened. And I'm like, crack a book. This stuff actually happened, and we need to be reminded so that we don't repeat history. Okay, that was a little side note tangent there. Back to the movie. If you can handle watching the horrors of this Holocaust, this is definitely a binge-worthy series that compels you to keep watching. Every episode ends with a cliffhanger, and you really start to love these family members and want them to be safe and want to know what's happening with them. There's beautiful music that is the theme of the movie series, and the whole musical score I thought was really lovely. Great attention to detail has been given and is truly appreciated. Keep watching until the very final rolling credits at the end of the movie of the last episode to see pictures of the real family and read on the screen the text that tells us where are these people now and what happened after the events of the movie. Now, on to the list of things I didn't like about the film. Really, there are only two things I could even think of. First, purists would probably prefer that the original languages were spoken with English subtitles. However, I think fewer Americans would probably watch this. We're kind of lazy movie watchers, and a lot of Americans don't like foreign films. However, I did not mind the accents at all. It kind of put me into the vibe, and I'm able to watch more movies when I can hear them and watch them, while I'm writing up things. Whereas if it's subtitles, I have to, really pay attention. Anyway, so I appreciated that we got to hear it in English. And then sometimes, only a few times, it's really hard to see what's happening in the dark evening scenes. Other than that, I thought it was well done. And I was surprised to read so many negative reviews like, oh, there's nothing to see here. And I'm like, seriously? I thought it was really well done. So whenever I watch movies, I write down funny lines and interesting lines simply so I can share them with you. So you get a taste for the script writing quality and dialogue and that kind of thing. Now, I looked at my notes and I saw that I did not write down any funny lines. This is a very serious drama, but I did write down a ton of interesting lines. Too many to share with you right now. So if you want to see them, go to my written review at moviereviewmom.com. But I will share some of them with you right now. So there is a character played by Robin Weikart, who is Nachuma, the mother. And she says, it can't hurt to be prepared. And I was like, yeah, exactly. So if you're paying attention to any signs of things that are going on in the world right now, you might want to spend a few minutes with your emergency preparedness. Now, I won't go into all of that, but I do have an online course called Emergency Preparedness. You can find it at lifelonglearningeducation.com. And I've talked about it a lot on my YouTube channel because there are a lot of movies that involve emergency preparedness, but definitely store extra water, food, cash, that kind of thing. All right, back to the interesting lines. There's a conversation between two characters, and they're talking about this baby who was killed. And someone says, she's a baby, that's barbaric. And then Joey King's character says, I think that's the point, that the Germans, the Nazis, were so barbaric in their treatments of other human beings. Again, unfathomable to me. So Addie is another character, one of the brothers, played by Logan Lerman, and he says, I was so blind, I did not see the signs. And it's interesting as you're watching the family live their life and things start to happen, you want to yell at the screen, get out of Poland, which is where they all start. But they had no idea that the world would just blow up the way that it did. And again, pay attention to the signs that you're seeing maybe where you live. Now, another very sweet line is spoken by Nachuma, again, played by Robin Weigert. She says, children give us the courage to face life. Now, we see several births in this movie. Now, don't worry, you don't see the actual, baby coming out or anything like that, but you see women trying to give birth in horrendous situations. And it's just amazing. I mean, a lot of babies were born during World War II. And how difficult that was. And yet, I loved that line. Another character, I say character, it's a real person, of course, Mila, played by Hadass Yaron. And the line is, I thought I knew something about human beings, but I know nothing, which I'm sure they all thought. Like, there's no way anybody would think that human beings would have been capable of the atrocities that were committed during World War II. And they were probably all just completely dumbfounded, definitely surprised. I love this other line. This is by Herta, who was played by Moran Rosenblatt, who said, faith is a choice. It's an act of will. Now, obviously, these were people who were persecuted for their religion, solely for their religion. Now, Judaism, you could say, is a race and a religion, and you're right, it's actually both. In their case, because Israel didn't really exist as a declared nation yet, or country, it was a nation of religious people who believed in Judaism. Hopefully that makes sense. I also really like this line by Joey King. Now, throughout the whole thing, they're all trying to survive and trying to decide, do we just, deny that we're Jewish? Do we hide? Do we just survive? Do we fight back? And so she says to somebody, survival is fighting. Wielding a gun is not the only way to fight back. And I thought that that was really interesting. Now, a lot of times they're begging people for help. And Teresa Taveras plays a character who says, everyone says they want to help. They just prefer it at a distance. And I know that when we've seen disasters or atrocities happening in other countries, I think that we feel the same way. Like, we'll donate money, but there's no way we're going to go over there, or get really involved if it's happening in your own country. And then I really liked another line where someone says, I think there's a lot of space for dreams in between being practical. And what was so heartbreaking was to see this family torn apart, just living their lives. They had goals and dreams and hopes. And, for about 8 years, their lives were in upheaval, and they shed tears because of what was lost, the ability to live the life as they chose, the luxury of just living your life how you choose. Thought that was really fascinating. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It kept me watching. I never lost interest. So before we go, let me give you recommendations for three films I instantly thought of. The first one is a recent one I just reviewed about a month or two ago called Irina's Vow, also based on a true story and also based in Poland. Another film I just reviewed about a month or so ago stars the incredible Anthony Hopkins. No, the Academy Award winning actor, Anthony Hopkins. And it's called One Life. Now, that one's a little bit slower moving, but by the end, you're just, you're just in tears, and it's really powerful. Act 3 is worth kind of sludging through acts 1 and 2, which move pretty slowly. And then, of course, Schindler's List. Now, all of these are based on true stories. Keep them coming, I say. And thank goodness each one of these was done very well. They're very different in their style, but they're very well done. All right, that was probably a long review, but I thought it was worth it because it was 8 hours worth of film. So hopefully that will help you to decide if you want to watch this or not. Also, if you have seen it, comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And when you get a minute, run over to Facebook and join my Movie Review Mom Facebook group. And you can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, all of the social media platforms, really. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.